So the Zoom H6 is a fantastic handheld recorder. Now I've owned this for over a year now, and I've used it in a lot of different scenarios, and so I can really speak to its positives and negatives. And unfortunately there are one or two negatives, but let's talk about the positives first. Now, it is really expansive. You've got the 4 XLR ports that come included on the unit, the stereo left-right mic on top, that records a left and right channel separately, so you get a proper stereo mix, whereas these ones are mono channels. This can be replaced, and you can add 2 more XLR ports, giving you 6 XLR ports, which means if you are doing something like a podcast or any sort of interview scenarios, or if you do a lot of corporate filming and you need multiple channels for all the different speakers, this is really, really good for that. You get dials on all of the mics as well, so you can adjust the gain for each one. And what's really cool about these ports, they can take an XLR cable as well as your guitar style cable. So that same port can utilize both of those connections, and all 4 of these are that connection. Obviously this stereo input on the top is really, really cool to get a live stereo mix. And on the side of it, it's also got a line in. So you can plug in any sort of standard mic with a 3.5mm jack into there. And the really cool thing, you can use this part to record a safety track. So it records at the level you set it, and also another 10 decibels lower, so that if you ever get the settings wrong and something peaks, you can go to that safety recording, which won't have peaked as easily, depending on your settings. And that is something that has really saved me on a couple of occasions. And it comes with this wind protector. So if you're out and about, maybe you want to do some recording of just sounds, you record maybe ambience and things like that, you can put this wind muff on to protect from any light winds. The SD card slot right here on the side. You can plug headphones in, which is quite useful if you want to like hear back what's recording. It also has a speaker built in. So if you forget your headphones and you want to just check the last recording actually recorded, you can just play it back through this, which is really, really cool. And of course you've got your tripod mount there. So if you want to mount it to any sort of tripod with a standard screw hole, you can do that. A line out, if you want to output it through line level, and also a little connector there to plug a remote in. So if you have, you can buy an extra remote with a really, really long cable so that you can operate the recorder without having to be right next to it, which is really useful. And if you connect this to your computer through USB, you can use it as an interface rather than just for copying files over, which you can also do. It can access the SD card through the USB port, but it can work as an audio interface, and you can have it so that it mixes down into one track, or you can use all of the tracks and have them all picked up on your editing software or whatever DAW you're using if you're into music production, which I didn't even know when I bought it that it had that feature, and I was just blown away. And the crazy thing is, it works on consoles. You can plug it into like your PS5 and it will work the same way. So obviously it takes 4 AA batteries, if that's how you want to power it, unless you want to power it through the USB port, of course. This is the main thing that bothers me about this unit, is where the screen is. So if you're recording and you've got this facing to you, do you see what the issue might be? You can't see the screen. So either you have to peek around and have a look to check your levels, or you have to like use a mirror or something like that, or just use a different mic, plug a mic directly in and use that. So if you want to use the top mic and you're speaking into it, you can't easily check your levels. Now there is something you can do. When it's on, we can see the levels here. If it peaks, whoa, those lights flash, which actually is a lot easier to see than having to look at the screen. So that's the main downside. But other than that, this has served me very, very well. The fact that you can connect it to your PS5 if you want to. I'm sure other consoles work, but I haven't tried it with like the Xboxes or anything like that. The H6 is actually really good. It's surprisingly good for indie films and stuff like that. It does have really good preamps. And so for a basic indie film with low budget filmmaking, you don't look any further than this. This will give you pretty good audio. I'm sure there's films on Netflix where they use this recorder. Maybe even recorders not even as good as this. So this is more than enough. So that's why I really like this recorder, because It's so versatile, and that's what I really love in gear. So you can buy one thing that can do a lot quite well, and that certainly is this H6. So highly recommend it.